Now, today I'm going to work questions 19 through 22, but I'm going to be covering two different lectures in one. Okay. So at the beginning, on the first homework assignment, I know I asked you guys to identify the intervals where the function is increasing and decreasing. So for the first homework assignment, let's take a look at number 19. I'm going to ask, my question will be, find where is this increasing and the interval when it is decreasing. That's the first thing I'm going to do, increasing, decreasing. So looking at the graph, if you were to travel on the graph, we always, by the way, we always travel from left to right. When you see words, when you read, we tend to, or at least we tend to read from left to right. So the same thing in math. We tend to look at the graph from left to right. So looking at my graph here, if I was to travel, right, I start at one point. It seems like I'm going down, right? I'm going down, I'm going down, I'm going down all the way here. So this, I'm going to write a minus. So that means I'm going down. But then from -4, right here from my vertex, it seems from the vertex and up, I'm going to start going up. Let me write a plus. So it means it's going up. So when I'm asking, where is it decreasing? Let me highlight in yellow. We mean this part right here, right? That's the section where my graph is decreasing, like it's going down. If I'm looking at my graph traveling from left to right, I'm going down. But that's decreasing. Okay, so how far left? Where my graph, my function there, my area there, where does it start? Do notice one of the things I want you to focus is at each end, I'm going to highlight it. I have arrows. So what does that mean? It goes on to the left forever. So how far left? Like I'm looking at decreasing here. How far left does it go? Well, it goes all the way to negative infinity. If we were on paper, if we were turning this on paper, I'm going to put parentheses and I will say negative infinity. If we were typing this on, we were doing this on paper, I can easily write that infinity sign. Now, because we're not going to do it on paper, the way you guys are going to type it, you guys will have to type in the word infinity. Now, infinity. Let me put a comma. And then I'm going to put a space. So let me emphasize, I have a space. You don't have to do a bar or anything. I'm just emphasizing I have a space. So I'm going to leave a space after my comma. And then this goes down up to -4. I'm just looking at my X values. Like seriously, I'm just looking at my X values. Ignore the Y values for now. So it decreasing from negative infinity up to -4. That's when it's decreasing, it's going down. Now with green, let me highlight increasing. So it goes up. It starts at -4 and it goes up and it continues forever, right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to emphasize I have an arrow. So that means it goes on forever. So I'm going to say it is increasing from -4 all the way to positive infinity. I do have a space after the comma. Just one space, though. Don't put more than one space. That's it. So when I'm asking for you to identify the interval where the function is increasing and decreasing, that's what I'm asking. Let's take a look at number 20. Let me do that again on number 20. Okay, so I'm going to ask for increasing and decreasing. Remember, increasing means going up, decreasing means going down. Let me see. Let me travel. Let me highlight in yellow my first part. Traveling from left to right. It seems like I go here, like I'm traveling my graph. It's going up, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. and it stops. Okay, so that's increasing. How far left did it go? Well, I don't know because it says here it goes forever. So how far left did it go? It went in forever. So increasing, remember I'm looking at increasing because my graph was going up. My arrow right that I have here, oops, I erased that. My arrow that I have on my graph is just telling me it's going on forever. It's not telling me it's going down. In this case, it was going up, so it's increasing. So I'm gonna say it was increasing from negative infinity. Remember, I have to write the word infinity, comma, leave a space. Where did it stop? What's the x value where we stop? 5. Put parentheses. Notice I'm using parentheses on my intervals. Okay, now for decreasing. Let me highlight this in green. So we start here at the highest point, and then it's going down, and it goes on forever. Okay. Remember, I'm just looking at my x values. So where did we stop going down? At 5. And it goes all the way to infinity. Okay, so for the first assignment, we should be good. I'm going to do questions 21 and 22 to practice on those as well. So let's take a look. Might as well do it now. I'm going to ask for increasing and decreasing. So I'm going to ask increasing and decreasing on both. Okay. So I'm going to look at number 21 on the farthest left of my function, right? I'm traveling from left to right. Think of this. Are you going up or are you going down? Well, we're going down, right? We're going down up to here. As a matter of fact, let me emphasize we were going down. Let me switch this color. Right here from the minimum point, I'm going to start going up and up and up, and it goes up forever. Let me emphasize this is where we were going up. So for my answer, increasing is when were you going up? Well, we start going up at -2. Remember, for increasing, decreasing, I'm just looking at my x values. I'm just looking at the x-axis. So we started going up. We started at -2, so going up. So I'm going to write -2, comma. And where did we stop? We did not. It goes on forever. So it goes up to positive infinity. Now decreasing. Where did we start? I have no idea. It was coming down from who knows where. So we were going to write from negative infinity, comma. Where did we stop going down? Oh, we stop at -2. Remember, I'm just looking at my x values. We stop at -2. Okay. Now let's take a look at number 22. I'm going to use yellow because it's the one that I have chosen right now. Starting from the left, farthest left point, got to ask yourself, I'm traveling along the function. Are we going up or are we going down? This case, I am going up. So, matter of fact, let me emphasize we are going up and we stop right there. That's the highest point. Let me change this colors and then it seems like we're going down. So let me emphasize this is when we're going down. So increasing is going up. We started at negative infinity. And we stop at -1. Remember, I'm using the x values. Decreasing, we started at -1. And we continue going down forever, so all the way to infinity. Some people might say, why is it positive infinity we're going down? Because I'm looking at the x values. As this thing goes down, the values of x keep on getting bigger. So positive infinity. Okay, so that's increasing, decreasing. So that was one of our assignments. Now, the other one assignment I'm going to ask you, because remember I said I want to cover two sections in one. Identify the intervals where the function is positive and negative. Okay, so let's come down over here. Remember, for increasing, decreasing, I was looking at the x value, the x-axis. Let me erase my marks on my graph here. Now, for positive and negative, the function, when is the positive function positive and when is the function negative? Okay, so let me write here, positive, negative. Now here I'm looking at the y values. So I'm looking at the y-axis only. Okay, where are the y values positive? When the function is above the x-axis, right? When I have the function over the x-axis, the the y values are positive. When are the y values negative? Well, when the function is below the x-axis, right? So let's do this. I'm going to use green. I'm going to highlight when is it above the x-axis. So I see the x-axis. It is there and there. Oop, two sections. So two intervals. So I'm highlighted in green when my function is above the x-axis. And then in yellow, let me highlight when is it below the x-axis. It's only one section, so only one interval. Okay. So there will be cases when you have two intervals, like in this case. So positive. Okay. Let's take a look. Remember, I'm looking at my values here, but for my interval, I still have to use, when I respond my interval, I still have to respond using the x values. So the y values, it was for me to know when is it positive or negative. The y values, when is it above the x-axis, when is it below the x-axis. But now I go only x values, so only the x-axis. Okay, the first interval, well, it goes back forever, right? So this goes from negative infinity to -5. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do for positive. My first one is gonna be negative infinity to -5, and I close it because I have a second interval. I'm gonna leave a space. Don't forget a space after the comma. When you guys are typing this in on your homework for the interval, don't forget the space after the comma. But now, because I have two intervals for my answer positive, I'm gonna use a capital U. So it has to be capital U, which represents union, which is gonna be I'm combining two or more intervals. In this case, I'm combining two intervals. My other interval is from -3 to positive infinity. So positive has two intervals. So two intervals on that one. Don't forget to connect them with the letter U. And yes, there is a space before and after the U. So let me emphasize, there's a space here and there's a space here. You don't have to type anything, just type the space, right? But so there's a space before and after the capital U. Okay, so negative. When is my function below the x-axis? It is from -5 to -3. My intervals, my numbers for my intervals, I get them strictly from the x-axis. Okay, let's do it again. Let's take a look at number 20. I'm going to ask, when is this positive? And when is this negative? Okay, so let me highlight. The negative, I'm going to highlight it when is this below the x-axis. Oh, it's right here. And as a matter of fact, even though we don't see it, it's right here as well. That yellow part is below the x-axis. We don't see it, but I know the graph continues on because the arrow at the end. Now with green, let me highlight it. When is it above the x-axis? So only one interval. Okay, so for the numbers for the intervals, remember I only use the x-axis. So positive, it is from 3 to 7. Don't forget the space after the comma. When is this negative? Okay, for the first interval, it goes as far left as a negative infinity, and it stops at 3. Then I combine this with from 7 to positive infinity. Let's take a look at questions 21 and 22. Remember, I'm going to ask for 21, when is this positive? When is this negative? So let me erase the markings that I did earlier. Let me clear this out. So with green, remember green, I'm using, is it below or after? Okay, green is what's above the x-axis. So I have it this interval in this interval. Oh, I have two intervals for positive. For negative, I'm going to use yellow, right? I only have one interval, one under the x-axis. So positive is going to be from negative infinity to negative 3, union from negative 1 to positive infinity. Negative, it's going to be below the x-axis from negative 3 to negative 1. Let's take a look at number 22. I'm going to ask, when is this positive? When is this negative? Okay, so remember, I'm using yellow for when it is below the x-axis. So here and here, two intervals. When is this positive? When is this above the x-axis? One interval only. So positive is going to be from negative 3 to 1. Negative is going to be from negative infinity to negative 3. Don't forget the space after the comma. Union from 1 to infinity. So look, for number 21, I had two intervals for positive and one interval for negative. But look for number 22. I had one interval for positive and two intervals for negative.